Business is hard, man, and I would not have gotten to where I am now if I didn't have a lot of people give me advice from their failures, their mistakes, their successes. So I feel like it is only right for me to give back in the same way that allowed me to grow to the level that I'm at today. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Josh and I run an agency that does anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 every month. Today I'm gonna be breaking down literally every part of the business so that you can actually apply it and start it or scale it if you're already running an agency. So let's not waste any time and get straight into it. This is a little preview of what we're going to be going over. I'll run this through quick just so that if there's a specific topic that you want to skip to, you totally can. We're gonna go over what the service we're actually offering is, the niches that we're going to offer it for, how we're going to position and package our offer, the different pricing models that you can use to upsell or downsell your clients, what our onboarding process should look like, as well as our acquisition process in every step of that process, how we're going to be getting lead flow, what the difference between outbound and inbound is, how we're going to run these leads through an asset funnel to get them to book, how we're going to qualify them, how we're going to frame the call, what the sales process is going to look like, how we are going to keep everything organized and make sure we're tracking the right data, and how to scale and optimize. This is everything that you need to know in order to build a $40,000 a month business. Let's start here with service. Now we want to pick a valuable service, something that will make people money. It is the easiest way to show value. They pay us $1, they get $4 back. Personally, I started with Meta ads. This was very simple to learn. I didn't say easy, I said simple. And it works for such a large number of businesses that it was not really capping me with my industry and my total addressable market. If Meta ads isn't your cup of tea and you want to do Google or things like that, basically any service that has to do with marketing will work. Next is going to be our niche. Now, like I said, Meta ads work for a whole long laundry list of companies. If I were just starting out or if I wanted to have something extremely scalable in the beginning, I would do local businesses. Now, when I say local businesses, I specifically mean service-based businesses. The reason we pick service-based businesses is because it's very easy to track where the leads are coming from. If you're running ads for something like a restaurant and everything is foot traffic, unless they're getting online orders that you can track to the ads, they're gonna have no clue who's walking into the store from the ad they saw on Facebook. As opposed to service-based businesses, the ads are very different. The ads are going to display on random people's screens in the area that we select. Say we're working with a junk removal company in this case. If somebody is interested in this service, they're gonna click on the ad, they're gonna get brought to a form. The form will have a couple questions and it's going to qualify them to see if this is actually worth sending to our client. After this, we're going to send the leads to the client. And with this information that we have just sent them, they're gonna give them a call. On this call, they're gonna pitch their service, say junk removal costs them $600. They're gonna go out to the job site and get it done. We can see that we spent $15 to get this person to fill out this form and get it sent to our client, and they made $600 back. You can track the exact return. On top of that, service-based businesses always need clients. It's not like they have this crazy long list of returning revenue, especially when they're trying to grow, they need to market themselves across many different platforms. The reason Meta is so good for this is because no matter the age range, if they're really young, say 18 to 35, or if the target audience is really old, say 35 to 65, it'll deliver to different platforms. Facebook and Instagram are both a part of Meta, so we'll get younger audiences on Instagram and older audiences on Facebook. Works for everybody, easy. How do we know if a service-based business is good? Well, the easiest ones to get leads for are when it's a necessity. Think about things like HVAC, I mentioned junk removal, roofing, things where people cannot put it off forever. This also allows your clients to charge higher prices because what are you gonna do, let your roof cave in? No, it's 15 grand, go take out a loan, get over it. Next is gonna be our offer. How can we make our service sound appealing to these businesses? Now, when most people make their offer, they make the offer completely wrong. And they try and sell focused on themselves. I say, Josh, what are you talking about? For example, this is a very common offer. I'll get you 10 jobs in 30 days or you don't pay. Now, there's two things that I don't really like about this. 10 jobs is a very interesting number and it's kind of a bold claim. It's hard to always follow up and hit these exact goals. So this you don't pay leaves us in a really weird gray area. If I delivered you 9 jobs and you made money, are you going to expect me to refund you? And now I'm put in a bad situation because I have to argue and say, well, in the contract, it actually states X, Y, and Z, and I basically lied to you to sign you as a client. The way that I like to position my offers instead is based on the outcome and the pain points. Think about things that your potential clients absolutely hate and where they actually want to be in their business. Maybe the outcome isn't 10 jobs, but it's spending less time booking jobs. Maybe they're tired of buying leads off of Angie's List. When we tie our service not just to some arbitrary number like 10 jobs, but to getting your time back, alleviating your stress, and getting you away from the things that you actively don't like, it's going to hit a lot harder and it's going to be a lot more valuable to them than just 10 jobs. Anyone can say, I'll get you 10 jobs. The second part I want to go over is this you don't pay. Now, this is called a risk reversal. Now, I actually don't like risk reversals because they attract cheap clients. People who are always looking for ways to get their money back or get out of a situation or never take a risk are not the kind of people that you want as clients. They're going to nitpick everything, try and weasel their way out, try to get you to do extra tasks for them. We want someone who understands that risk is a part of business. And no matter who you hire, no matter how much experience they have, there's always a chance something could go wrong or it could go astronomically right. And this all comes down to positioning, which we will go over soon. Anyway, write your offer with no risk reversal up front, but tie it to their desired outcomes and their active pain points. Next is going to be packaging. Now we need to think about what people actually want to buy. There aren't many business owners out there thinking in their free time, wow, I really need to get meta ads for my business. A lot of them are just thinking, I need more jobs. So instead of packaging our service as complete deliverables, we want to sell it around the outcomes. The same way that we wrote our offer around outcomes, we want to package our service as the bridge to getting there. And I'll ask you, what do you think sounds better? I'll run your meta ads or I'll give you consistent lead flow. One of them is very technical and kind of hard to understand what it's going to do for your business. Are meta ads going to do well? Is that a lot of work for me? How is this all going to work? Or I'll get you consistent leads. You want to make it very easy for your client to understand the outcomes, because the better that they understand what they're going to get, the more they're going to value you. There are thousands of people selling the exact same thing. But the reason that some of them perform so much better than others is because they understand these principles of psychology. Pricing is another place where a large majority of mistakes are made. People want to be cheap, people want to be affordable, and it all comes down to them not having confidence in the delivery of their service. If you were confident in what you were doing and that it would actually benefit somebody, why would it be cheap? Price also is a signifier of perceived value. When we hear something is more expensive, we assume it to be better. For example, if I were going to take you on a $1,000 vacation or a $10,000 vacation, which one would you want to go? Probably the $10,000 vacation. If I offered you 2 pairs of shoes to buy, a shoe for $15 or a shoe for $150, which one do you think is going to be made of higher quality material? Which one is going to be more comfortable? Which one is going to last longer, make you run faster? We don't want to be cheap. The quickest way to get people to not buy from you is to make your offer and your package sound really, really, really desirable, and then hit them with the cheapest price ever. Because their first thought is, this is too good to be true. There's no way that I'm getting $50,000 of value for 700 bucks. Just no way. And they're right to think that. So let's price accordingly. There's a couple ways that we can do this. We can do a flat monthly retainer. I would price this no lower than $2,000 every month. And honestly, depending on the client, I would go all the way up to $5,000 every month. Now, when we give them this month-to-month option, they can just pay $2,000 and leave us the next month. So an easy way to make more money up front and kind of guarantee this income is to have these term length plans. For example, if it's $2,000 every month, for 3 months, if they pay up front, we'll only charge them $4,500. So they're saving $1,500 by just paying in advance. And hearing the number $4,500 makes it sound more valuable than $2,000. So we're hitting both angles. It's a better deal, but it sounds like it's higher quality. Same thing here. If someone's paying $5,000 a month for 6 months, they're paying $30,000. But say we give them a discount and we only charge them $20K up front if they want to pay for 6 months. They're saving $10,000 here. And you might be thinking, Josh, what local business has this amount of money to spend up front? And I'm about to let you guys in on a huge industry secret. They do not have to pay this number up front. There are pricing plans that you can have them on where they go through a third party and get approved to finance this number. Now, this does depend on external factors like available credit, but if we're working with a business that's willing to spend $30,000 on marketing, they probably have some credit. This will allow them to pay this number in up to 6 to 12 months of installments. If they go with the 6-month option, which is the exact same amount of service that they're getting, they'll only have to pay $3,300 up front and every month ongoing. But you will get the $20,000 almost paid in full. It almost sounds too good to be true, but it's not. This is how people are making so much money with such simple services. Say they go for the 12-month option. You convince them to start up for only $1,600. They get full access to this $30,000 system. It will pay for itself. And by the end of this 6 months, you'll have enough to pay for the next year of marketing. It's all about your framing and how you position yourself. And an easy way to bump up your pricing is with some high ticket add-ons. What do I mean by this? Instead of just providing meta ads to a company, hire a local videographer to actually come out to the location and record the ads with them. This seems extremely professional, and it is. It's gonna get them better results, and it's just going to make their brand image a lot higher quality. But in reality, this is only gonna cost you a couple $100. But again, if we package it and show the ROI, explain the value to them, they will be willing to pay thousands of dollars, especially if we put them on a financing plan up front. I know pricing is complicated, it's a lot. What if someone doesn't have money? We're gonna do what's called a downsell. This is something that I would create just to have a little extra cash flow and take advantage of the leads that you're generating that just can't afford your main service yet. I would recommend something like a do-it-yourself course on how to run the meta ads themselves. And you might be thinking, Josh, why would I sell something for cheap that's just explaining how to do what I'm charging a lot of money for? They're either going to hit one of two walls. Number one, it doesn't work. And what this is gonna do is have them realize it's not as easy as they thought, and they're gonna come to you to do it professionally. Or the other option, it does work, but now maybe they have too much work on their hands, or they wanna see what it would be like if it's done professionally. They wanna offload this work, and who are they gonna offload it to? The person that they trust the most, because we're the ones who showed them how to make it work in the first place. Guess what? They're going to come back to you once again. Do not be scared to give information away. Like I said before, the entire name of the game is value. The more value we can provide to somebody, the more they are going to want to pay us, and the more we are going to be worth to them. This is easy. Record it, price it anywhere from $600 to $1,200. Only mention this after you have tried to sell them on the main service. You're going to need multiple layers of pricing in order to make this happen. For example, say you start with the 3-month plan for $4,500. They don't have enough to do that. You can offer them the financing plan. Say they don't get approved for financing. You can offer them the $2,000 monthly retainer. Say they don't have enough for that. Now we introduce the downsell because that's the lowest that we can go. Next is onboarding. I want to make sure this is covered before we get into acquisition, because if we don't know how to onboard people, acquiring them is going to be a headache. So onboarding should be relatively automated. What I would do in the easiest case scenario is collect the cash on the call, have them sign the contract on the call, and then I would have pre-recorded onboarding videos. This is going to be explaining everything that we need from them in order to have a smooth process, whether we're showing them how to set up an ad account, add us to their ad account, send us the creatives, whatever it is. When you have these pre-recorded, you can save so much time over going on the phone and trying to do it all with them at once. It'll take you, let's say, 1 hour to have all these made. And that 1 hour that it would usually take you to onboard somebody is only gonna take you 2 minutes to send this video to them every single time they sign the contract. We need to add them to a communication channel. I would recommend Slack, it's very professional. The final thing I wanna talk about with onboarding is clear expectations. People will set extreme expectations that you'll get results within a couple days, maybe weeks. But if we can frame that the first month may not be exactly what you're expecting, but month 2 and 3, it's gonna start to pick up. We're gonna do 2 things. Give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room to make a mistake. I know that sounds bad, but in reality, things go wrong. Maybe we test a bunch of creatives and they don't work. Maybe their ad account gets shut down and we need to spend 2 weeks making a new one. There's a ton of things that could happen. So giving ourselves this wiggle room allows us to not lose the client right away. Secondly, it's gonna place the thought in their mind that they're gonna be paying for at least another 2 months, because that's when it's gonna start to pick up. Why would I give up right before it starts to make me money? Which means if this person is paying 2K, we'll be able to lock in basically 6K from them. It also builds trust, because how many people are willing to say, look, this might not work as quick as you want it to, but at the end of the day, it will work and it'll pick up. Just give it some time. Not many people. And they're gonna respect the honesty rather than you lying to them and telling them a fairy tale that's never gonna come true. Now we have upselling. I think I kind of went over this a little bit. Basically, it's going to be taking these people who go into our downsell and keeping contact with them so that we can eventually move them up into our main offer. We call this a little bit of an ecosystem. And there's a lot of different ecosystems in this business model, but this is just one of them. What we can also do is upsell our existing clients on our higher ticket to things like this videographer. Even say we charge an extra 2K for professional videos and it only costs us $600. We just added an extra $1,400 with no real additional work, didn't have to onboard any new clients, just took advantage of the situation we already put ourselves in. Now we can get into the fun part, which is acquisition and the rest of this model. Acquisition is acquiring the clients. Now that we know what service we're providing, what niche we're working with, how our offer should be structured, how much we're gonna charge, how we're gonna package everything, downselling in our onboarding process, let's get some clients. It all starts with lead flow. What we need is people that we can start conversations with so that we can start to qualify them and see if they're a good fit to work with us. Once we qualify them, we're going to book them, typically on like a Zoom call. I always do 1 call close. Do not do a 2 call close. It's not worth it if you're trying to scale quick. At scale, doing 2 calls is not worth the time it's gonna take. After they book, we're gonna close them. This is a very simplified version of the process, but like I said, it all starts with getting leads. There are 2 main ways that you can get leads. You can do inbound and you can do outbound. In the beginning, I recommend doing both at the same time. This is because we wanna get clients and results and testimonials and money as quick as possible. But once we have something to work with, I would heavily focus on inbound. Outbound is when you're reaching out to people. Inbound is when they're coming to you. If I were doing outbound, I would do Loom outreach. Basically sending short 2 to 3 minute videos to business owners on Instagram. This is going to cause them to obviously watch the video, but then check out our page, which is going to aid in our conversion a lot. And if they're interested, we can continue the conversation and qualify, hopefully book them and close them. With inbound, we're going to need to set up 3 channels: our Instagram, our YouTube, and our TikTok. Instagram is gonna be the main hub where we're going to be having all of the conversations. YouTube is where we're going to be building trust with our audience and showing a little bit deeper of our expertise. And TikTok is where we're actively going to be getting leads, because on TikTok, you can go live. When you go live, you get shown to thousands of new people who have never seen you before. And honestly, I don't know what it is, but local business owners are on there all day. Maybe there's just way more local businesses in the world than I thought, but even if it's your first time going live on a fresh TikTok account, you can get local businesses in there. You talk to them, you nurture them, you send them to your Instagram, They watch your videos, they check out your YouTube, they send you a DM, you're in. Which is actually a great transition into building this asset funnel. We don't just want every lead to be coming to us cold, not knowing who we are, the service we provide, how much it costs. That's gonna lead to a lot of confusion and friction on the call. When there's friction, they're not gonna wanna move forward, they're gonna go cold. So we wanna be sending them YouTube assets before this call so that they can learn a little bit more about the system and actually know if it'll work for them or not. Now that they feel a little more confident, they're gonna wanna book with us. After they book, we need to send them another video showing our deliverables. Now, no one will really tell you this, but sending your deliverables before the closing call is actually gonna increase your close rate. It's gonna save you time explaining what your service is on the call, and it's also gonna give your prospect time to digest what they're looking to buy. It also sets the frame. They're not coming in curious anymore. They're coming in ready to make a decision. Whether this is a yes or a no, you're not gonna be told, I'm just looking around. This is also going to add a level of nurture where they're consuming who we are as a person, watching our content, seeing how we think, hearing how we talk, becoming familiar with our face. This is extremely important because it builds another level of trust. On a very small scale, they are building what we call a parasocial relationship with us. And they're starting to understand who we are and relate to us as a person before we've ever even talked to them. Booking sequence, I would always use a calendar. I would never go back and forth in the DMs, seeing when everyone is available so you can hopefully pick a time. I would make sure that you set your availability and you send your calendar to them. Say, pick a time that works for you. This is going to put us in a position of authority because we are saying you can work around my schedule. Because the truth is, this person, this lead, this local business is coming to you because they have a problem and they know that you can solve it. I want you to keep that frame when you're on these closing calls. Don't get intimidated just because they might be older than you. You have the solution to the problem that they're actively trying to solve. And that is valuable. On this booking form that has our availability, we're gonna do one more thing. We're going to add a pre-booking form. What this form is gonna do is ask a bunch of questions about the business and see if they're actually capable of moving forward on the call. If they're pre-revenue and they don't have any clients and they don't know how to sell and they're not willing to invest, why would we get on a call with them? We're not here to give free consulting advice. We're here to run a business. Don't be afraid to turn people down. The more you can say no to a bad client is the more that you can say yes to a good client. And I also want you to think about it this way. If someone doesn't qualify on the form, they were never gonna buy on the call anyway. So you aren't really missing out on anything, you're just getting your time back. This is also gonna allow us to ask these difficult questions without having to actually ask them. For example, how much money are you making per month is something that is hard to bring up in conversation, but when it's on a form that they're filling out privately, it's so much easier. And when they're writing these questions saying, yes, I'm ready to invest, yes, I'm willing to move forward, yes, I wanna fix this problem in my business, it's priming them to buy. This is the difference between agencies doing 10K a month and 40K a month. It's these little minute details that you would never expect to be a part of the process and play such a huge role. It's hundreds of micro pushes that we're giving to the prospect before they get on the call with us that allows us to charge more and close easier. Now, when we're framing the call, I already explained this deliverable video, I already explained the YouTube assets, and I explained why the qualification is so important, but we really wanna hold this frame. We wanna make it clear that if you do not watch this video before the call, I will be forced to reschedule. This puts pressure, and once again, puts you in this position of authority where they are going to listen to you. They are going to respect your time. They are going to respect your prices, and they are going to respect that you know something that they don't. The more passive you are, the more docile, the less confident you are, the less they're gonna wanna pay, and the less they're gonna wanna move forward. If you notice yourself getting walked all over on your closing calls, start implementing some of these. Finally is the sales process, and the sales process on calls that are properly framed is completely different than cold ones because we don't have to do any of the explaining of our service. We're gonna spend the first 3 to 5 minutes building rapport, just warming up the conversation, breaking the ice, nothing crazy. Then after that, we're gonna move into about 10 to 15 minutes of actual discovery. This is where they're talking about their problems. We're breaking down what is going wrong and just taking in as much information as we can. During this time, you should only be asking questions. You should be in complete control this entire call. Finally, you bridge to the purchase. You ask if they watch the video, they're gonna say yes. You're gonna say, do you have any questions about the process? They'll either give you a couple questions or they're gonna say no, and then you're gonna tell them the price. Use the information that you gathered from the pre-call form to what price you're going to tell them. Not because you're trying to be schemy, just because you don't wanna offer a $20,000 package to someone who told you they have $3,000. It's just not gonna make sense. You can decide which ones make the most sense for each situation, and you're going to get better as you do it more often, but 100% hold your frame. By this point in time, it is clear the value you provide, and they have made it this far because they want to move forward. Handling objections isn't always the most comfortable thing, but as long as you're confident and you understand the value you're providing to them, it really isn't that hard. You don't have to be the craziest sales guru in order to convince somebody, because at the end of the day, you're kind of doing them a disservice by letting them off the call and not buy. You know that you would be able to generate them hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's your duty to lead them into that same mindset. Otherwise, they're gonna continue to stay stagnant and they're not going to grow. And that's on you. Now, the last two things are going to go hand in hand. First one, organization and tracking. I would track all of your data week by week. And these are all of the things that you need to be tracking every single week. How many leads you had, how many conversations you had, how many times you sent your booking link, how many of them actually booked, how many of these bookings were qualified. I'm actually gonna add one in here. I totally forgot your show rate. How many of these booked meetings actually showed up? How many of the shown meetings were qualified? And when I say qualified, I mean they could have bought. If someone has $100, they're not qualified. If someone has $10,000, but they just say, oh, maybe I'm not looking for this service right now, that's a qualified lead. How many of them closed and how much cash was actually collected? When you have this kind of data, you can see where you're actually bottlenecking yourself in the process. You can't just guess to see what part of the process is going wrong and hope that you can fix it. You can look and actually see where you're falling off. And you'll also be able to see week over week if you're improving. If you are going up, then you don't have to worry. If you notice yourself starting to go down, maybe we need to make some changes, which is kind of where scaling and optimizing comes in. The only thing that you need to focus on when you're trying to scale is your leverage. And leverage is basically how much effort does it take me to make X amount of money. So for example, if we're running everything ourselves, we have very low leverage. It's taking us a lot of time, a lot of energy in order to make this amount of money. But if we start to hire and delegate, we can start to get some of this time back, we can start to get some of this energy back, and we'll make a similar amount of money. At scale, the way that you can find your highest leverage activities is by writing down everything that you do in a week. Find what is taking the most of your time, and if it is something that can only be done by you, or if it can be done by anyone who is trained. For example, posting content with your face for a long time, this is only something that can be done by you. But is the editing something that only you can do? Is making the thumbnails something only you can do? Is running the ads only something you can do? Is closing the clients only something? Is outreaching the clients something that only you can do? No. So we're gonna start to build up a team. And these are the only roles that you're gonna have to hire in this stage. Maybe a setter, maybe a closer. Most likely a VA at some point to help with some tasks. Almost definitely a media buyer, definitely a creative, and maybe a CSM. A CSM is a client success manager. These are basically gonna manage the communications and make sure that everything is going right. Or they can kind of be like head of operations, where they're also gonna help manage your team to make sure everyone is succeeding and everyone's getting the inputs that they need to. Overall, it's gonna be an extremely lean team. And if you have all of these steps in place, there's nothing that you really need to worry about in order to hit 40K a month. You have a very strong, desirable service and a niche that will see immense returns from it, with an offer that makes you stand out against the crowd, with pricing that shows you're a premium option to people who want to grow fast. Your packaging is gonna make it all make sense and allow you to collect more money up front. You'll have downsells to collect money from people that just couldn't pay that much on call, so you're not wasting your time. You'll have onboarding videos and everything systemized so that you don't have to spend hours making sure everyone sends the information over to you. You have upsells for these existing clients to collect some more cash on the back end. Your acquisition will be dialed in because you'll have multiple streams of lead flow, and lead flow will eventually lead to bookings. But in between, you're gonna have a complete asset funnel. And this asset funnel is gonna nurture these leads and make them want to buy from us because they're building trust. They're building this parasocial relationship. You're gonna have a qualification form on your booking link so that the people you're getting on a call with aren't unqualified and you're not wasting your time. It's also gonna frame them before this call that they are here to make a decision. And because they're not just price shopping and they're here to make a decision, your close rates are gonna be higher. Your sales process is gonna be a lot smoother, a lot easier, more diagnosing of their situation than anything else. And you're not gonna handle as many objections because people are coming pre-sold. Of course you're gonna stay organized and you're gonna track all of your data week by week so that you can see what you need to improve on and what you're doing amazing on, and exactly what is actively bottlenecking you and keeping you low leverage. And then you're gonna continue to scale. You're gonna optimize your system, see what you can do to save time, see what you can do to save money, and hire the proper team members when the time comes. With more team members means you can take on more clients, which means you can make more money. Even though this is a blueprint to hit $40,000 a month, realistically, you can use these same principles to at least $100,000 a month. And that will pretty much sum it up. Whether you are an agency owner or you're an aspiring agency owner, save this video and rewatch whenever you have a lack of clarity so that you can see exactly what's missing in your process so that you can start making more money. If you want to work with me one-on-one to grow your agency to $40,000 a month, there's a link in the description for you to book a call. It's going to be the same process. Quick form, we'll hop on a call. I'm going to send you a couple videos and we're going to get started. I've done this process myself. You've watched me explain it. You can understand how it's all going to work. And whether you're starting at $0 a month or you're stuck at $30,000 a month, I'll find your bottleneck and I'll fix it with you. Make sure to check me out on Instagram. I'm active on there every single day. If you have any questions, just shoot me a DM.